What's going on, guys? Fate of the Furious. It's hitting theaters. And you know, the Fast and the Furious franchise, it's all about family. So what's the best thing to do other than tear that family apart and rank them? And we have some Fast and Furious individuals on this panel to do that for us. First, she's a friend of Screen Junkies. You know her from SJ News and FX Movie Download, Sasha Pearl Raver.
I am so excited. I live to talk about this movie.
This gentleman, you've seen him on Screen Junkies News, Movie Fights. He's the co-host of the Trusty Sidekick podcast and a very funny stand-up comedian. Welcome to the show, Jay Washington.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And finally, you know him, you love him. He's all over Screen Junkies. You know him from Schmoes Know and his YouTube channel, JTE Movie Thinks. JTE.
I'm happy to be here, Hal.
We gave you a list of Fast and Furious franchise characters to rank. We took your rankings, we averaged them together, and we came up with the master list, the top dozen, the dirty dozen of Fast and Furious characters.
All right.
Here we go. At the bottom, bringing up the rear at number 12, Gal Gadot, Giselle.
I am so happy she is last. I am so happy she is
Okay.
last.
She was one above my last.
Honestly, I was worried about Wonder Woman because I thought Gal Gadot was so terrible in the Fast and Furious franchise. And also there's the moment in 5 where she's like, I'm gonna go seduce this guy, and she's in a bathing suit and she's supposed to look all sexy, and she's been taking the no acetol pills. There is just no butt. And as anybody who loves the Fast and Furious knows, it is all about
You find that
underbutt
pills at
shots.
GNC Nutrition
It's
Centers?
all about
Or-
Are you kidding me? Fast and Furious has made their name on underbutt.
I want to go to JTE, you had Giselle, Gal Gadot, highest on your
Where?
list.
Where'd you have her?
I had her towards the middle. I didn't put the butt into my decision making here. I'm sorry, that's not how I go.
Always put the
The
butt
butt
in
is-
decision making.
Especially in Fast and Furious.
But I do think she was a cool character, and she had some memorable scenes, and I thought the relationship with her and Han actually added to the franchise.
You like her, but they didn't, and she's number 12, bringing
That's-
up the rear. Number 11 on the list, Jordana Brewster, Mia Toretto.
That works. That's a good place for Mia to be.
I put me a little bit higher, only like 2-3 spots higher.
She's kind of a secondary character who's there to give really Paul Walker's character just more motivation and background. Like, she's there to help that character be a better character.
Paul Walker now has a family when it comes to Jordana Brewster's character. They have a child together.
Yeah, but it's to support his character more. I don't feel like she ever gets a moment in any of these films to really shine. Like, what's the Jordana Brewster moment for you?
Exactly. After the first movie, they really just made her an exposition device.
Yeah. All right, number 10, Sean Boswell, Lucas Black.
The fact is, this guy was the star of his own movie. He was a star of one of the Fast and Furious movies, and he's still not that memorable. So to me, that really broke him down really low on my list.
I feel like Lucas Black really fell victim to people hating Tokyo Drift because it went so outside of what we had come to expect. And I honestly feel like there's characters that were much worse, and he just got sort of subjugated.
Well, Lucas Black coming in at number 10. Let's go to number 9, Sung Kang, Han.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, I think I had him a little higher.
Yeah.
Jay, you were the highest on
I had
Han.
him
You had him
higher.
at number 7.
Because he was Dominic. He was Toretto's day one. Again, we're talking about family and friends. He's known Toretto the longest.
Yeah.
He's been a friend the longest. He was always there. And that's what this whole franchise is predicated on.
Yeah.
You have the core of the family. You have the Toretto, Letty, Brian, Mia. You have the core.
And yet, Mia, number 11.
Yeah, the ladies have not been getting a lot of love. Now, JT, I know you're a big action fan. I mean,
Yes.
Han has gotten in some, awesome action moments.
I think he's cool. You mentioned he has this history of Dom. We don't really get to know about that. It's literally one line in the movie, like, I've known him since so-and-so.
Yeah.
That's all you get about the history between those two. So there's not much there.
He was the snack guy.
A snack guy?
Oh, yeah,
If he
always
was-
eating.
snacking.
If he
Yeah.
made him like a stoner and he was eating snacks all the time, then maybe I'd like him a little more.
All right, moving on. Number 8 on our list, Owen Shaw, portrayed by
Perfectly
Luke
placed.
Evans.
I had him much lower.
You had him last.
Last.
Okay, talk on that.
Listen, there's very rarely been a good villain in any of the films. Too Fast, Too Furious. The first Fast and Furious it's all gangs. I have 4. I don't even remember who the villain was. It was some drug lord. He was the first time to show us there could be a decent villain, but there's nothing about him. And the fact that he got upstaged by his brother.
But because of who he was, him being central with Braga's cartel and everything, pulling in Letty after she had amnesia, that made him rank higher to me. That was a solid villain. I'm a villain fan in movies.
Oh, yeah.
I am a big villain fan, and that's what made him
yeah.
go higher in my ranking.
All right, let's move on to number 7, Tyrese Gibson, Roman Pierce.
Yep.
All right. You let out a big sigh there.
Because he was last on my list.
Wow.
I am not a Tyrese fan. I am not,
Man.
especially comes to acting. He is the same character in every single movie. There's nothing unique about that character. He just talks a lot. He runs his mouth. I could have been that character, but I can't fit in the cars. Now, besides talking, besides running his mouth, what else does Roman Pierce do?
I think he's the audience a lot of times. He's the guy going, what the F are we about to do? I'm more like Tyrese than anybody on that team.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we doing? We're about to do this? Are you all crazy? Like, he's the
That's
kind
a
of
great
voice of
point,
reason.
JT. He's calling out
He's
the
calling
crazy
out.
stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on. Coming in at number 6, Luda.
Nice.
Tej Parker. Talk to me about Luda, you guys.
There's always got to be a tech guy.
Yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
the tech guy.
That is true.
One of the things that makes these films so incredible is that they're super multicultural.
Yeah.
So when you've got Ramsey, Natalie Emanuel from Game of Thrones, and you've got Tej, Ludacris, playing the computer geniuses, that's a great representation that I'm really excited to see on screen.
And sometimes when we see a tech guy, it's normally the older,
It's the
heavy
skinny
set. No, it's a
white dude.
It's a chunky white dude who's like, my mom doesn't know I do this.
Number 5, Jason Statham, Deckard Shaw. So you had Deckard Shaw at number 5.
Yeah.
So you nailed that.
A man driven on revenge, wanted to stick up for his younger brother, man, who was, I'm gonna get who did this to my brother. I'm going after Toretto and everybody.
The introduction of Jason Statham, where he comes
One
out of the
shot.
hospital
Yep.
Yeah.
and you see just everything destroyed, and you know you are dealing with an unmitigated badass. That's the best.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. I had him like around number 7, and the reason why I just
You were lowest on him.
only because screen time. He's by far the first villain I was like, okay, we have a villain in this franchise. And I'm real curious to see what they do with him in part 8. But the reason why I put him a little bit lower on my list was because I had to give to the other guys, I've just seen them more. They've been around more. They have more storylines.
All right, we've reached the final 4, you guys. Coming in at number 4, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Hobbs. The man who some say revitalized this franchise. Jay, you had this man at number 2. Talk to me.
Because of that. You bring somebody in who's as charismatic and as action-packed and who can integrate with all these characters as well as The Rock did. You put him in here and the blending of them to deal with each personality, it's a different interaction, but it's the same interaction. He'll interact with Toretto one way, but then interact with a Roman Pierce a different way. Then interact with a Deckard Shaw a different way.
That's a great point because this is a franchise that's been around for 4 movies. He jumps right in, and it's like, oh yeah, where you been all my life?
Yeah.
You know?
The Rock really did, for me, 5 is probably, after 1, the best of the Fast and Furious movies, and it's largely because of what The Rock did.
Sasha, I think you summed it up when you said The Rock makes everything better.
Does.
All right, moving on. Number 3. This, I'm personally surprised by this. You can't say 3 is low, but coming in at number 3, Dominic Toretto, Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Let's break this down.
Okay, I want to talk to Mr. Jay Washington because you had Dominic Toretto the lowest of anyone at number 4.
I can explain. We can explain this. Don't worry.
Unprecedented.
We
All
will
hell is
explain this.
breaking loose. Pandemonium on the set.
What are you talking about?
Nope.
So, Jay, you had this man, Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto, at number 4. Why?
What difference have we seen in Dominic Toretto from
Thank
any
you.
other movie?
It's not about
Every
the
movie.
acting.
He is
That's
the
my
same
exact
thing
point.
in every single
thing.
movie. He is the same
Yep,
person.
same thing.
He is the same person in every.
Yeah.
Homie,
JT,
homie,
you had him at
This is
number.
not the Oscars. This is not an acting challenge. This is not what makes the best
JT, you had him at number 3.
Yes, he's just the same thing in every movie. There's no character development. Almost, he loses people, he gets people back, and either way, he just kind of grunts. Good. Oh, you're back.
Sasha.
I'm
in,
having
please.
so many feelings right now.
I know.
You guys keep talking about family. Dom is the family. He's the one who hosts the barbecue. He's the reason.
This choice has caused
No.
Sasha to have an episode.
She sounds like all of the Valley Girls. Oh my God, how do you do this? How dare you? You can't put up. It's not.
I'm actually crying. I'm actually crying a little bit. He's like the reason that this thing exists.
No, he
I
just
can't-
says it. He
Sasha,
doesn't
you're getting
do
all the
it.
feelings
I
right
can't
now.
handle it. Like,
All
I can't.
Just because he
Jesus.
says,
Well, you
He's
gotta
a-
handle
he's-
it because coming in at number 2,
Oh, please, God. I might have to leave.
Michelle Rodriguez,
Thank God.
Letty Ortiz.
Although you screwed that up. Are you kidding me?
Letty was my number 1. Her and Hobbs are the top 2 badass that keep this franchise alive and going. Yes, you need a Vin Diesel. If he was to die, could this franchise continue? Yes.
Rock could step right in.
Yes.
And probably just as good, if not better.
But what happens with Letty, who wasn't even in the best one when they resurrected it with 5?
That's a big point. Number 5 is widely considered the best one.
At
and
the
Letty
end of
not-
5, the after credit scene is look who's alive.
Yeah, she got photo.
But you let him know, but you said.
After credit sequence. Let's just get to number 1 so I can like view my happy face.
All right, you may know it already, but the number 1 Fast and Furious character of all time, Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, R.I.P. Jay, controversial choice here.
Yes, I did.
You had Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker at number 6.
Initially, yes, I did.
Wow.
All right,
Whereas
Sasha, I'm with
JT,
you now. What's going on here?
I mean, are you guys watching the same
No.
franchise? You had him
I
at
had
number
number
1.
one.
You had him at number 1.
Obviously.
Number 6.
Wow.
I don't appreciate this hostility. First and foremost. I like who he is. I love who he is as a character. I love what he brings to this franchise. But when you're talking about what this franchise becomes and what it grows into, he goes down that list. Again, that's how you get a Hobbs going up. That's how you get a Deckard Shaw. But that's how you get these people going up. He has to go down. I get it. It's Paul Walker. He started this thing. But you're talking about a revitalization of a franchise that a lot of people wrote off for a while. Yeah, he drops down. That is my story. And I'm sticking to it before I run.
You make an excellent point, Jay, in that the franchise was starting to dip, and then they brought in these characters that revitalized it, and that's what added some excitement. That's what added a jump start to it. So lay it down. Why is Brian O'Connor number 1?
Shall I go? I just love where his story starts and it ends. I mean, you're literally, it's the whole, yes, Fast Furious was remake of Point Break. He's a cop who goes against being a cop. Even when he comes back in part 4, he's still in the agency. Then he finally becomes the villain, but, I mean, to the police. Goes on the run with Dom, and I don't know, for me, just like his story is the most interesting if you look at all the characters throughout. Like, our Vin Diesel's character is just an outlaw who's grumpy. That's his whole thing throughout this whole franchise. Again, I understand you need Dom with him because they're great together. Like, those two together is what made this franchise. And for me, he just kind of encapsulates everything that this franchise has been through. And he's worked both sides, and it's Paul Walker. He's great.
Yeah, Sasha, thoughts?
He was always the character that had the most to lose because he did work for the FBI. So he had the highest stakes. He always had the most to prove. He had the most to lose. He created the family with Mia. He and Dom, the number 1 and the number 2 that are the tip of the pyramid of this franchise. We're going to have to street race to
I did not realize that this list would tear our family apart, but we did it. We came up with our top 12. They are ranked. What did you think of those rankings? What would you rank higher? What would you rank lower? And what's your favorite Fast moment of all time? Let us know in the comments section below. We want to know. I got to thank this panel for really going there. You guys got emotional. There were ups, downs. Sasha Pearl Raver, thank you so much. Jay Washington, thank you, sir. JTE,
Thanks,
great to have you on the show. And thank you for watching. I'm Hal Rudnick. Hit me up on Twitter. Bye-bye. Hey guys, did you know that this end card works with your phone now? I know, right? Click the boxes below to watch more Screen Junkies videos and click the Screen Junkies logo to subscribe and get this show, honest trailers, movie fights, and more.